All right, welcome. So, overcoming the painful feeling of removing stimulation. So, this video is all about the feeling of pain, of almost discomfort that comes from removing the stimulation and not having constant influx of stimulation that happens when you begin a dopamine detox, right? So if you guys would like to completely transform your lives through self-improvement and dopamine detoxing, you can go ahead and click the link in the description. That top link is going to bring you to a booking page. You can book a one-on-one call with me where I'll just get to know you guys and we'll discuss if you're a fit for the program. And then you can also go ahead and click that second link to DM me on Instagram if you'd rather do that, if that's more comfortable to you. But anyways, without further ado, overcoming the painful feeling of removing stimulation. So my experience with removing stimulation was that when I had finally decided to remove everything, I deleted all the apps, I stopped watching porn, I stopped watching television, I basically stopped listening to music completely. I rarely listen to music now, and it's only just for a little bit of enjoyment. If there's ever a time where I'm not on a monk mode and instead of indulging in like some shit food or whatever, I listen to a little bit of music, right? That's my little guilty pleasure, is listening to some music, right? But I basically completely removed all types of music, all junk food, all television, all types of porn, or all types of porn. There's only one type. I removed porn, all types of social media. But what happened was, anytime I would try to not stimulate myself, anytime I would try to just sit there, I'd basically get this like anxious feeling, like this antsy feeling, like I needed something, and like I'd be like looking around my room for something to do, and there was just like nothing that was pulling me, right? My room is set up as a library, so I have books all over my bookshelf, I have journals, I have my computer for when I want to work, everything is optimized. I have a corner full of just sports gear, full of every single different sport imaginable. I have basketballs, I have soccer balls, I have a snowboard for the trampoline to go and practice tricks, I have badminton racks, I have everything you could ever possibly imagine. None of it was enticing to me though, right? Because all I wanted was that stimulation. All I wanted was to watch content or listen to music or smoke weed, right? None of it was enticing to me, and everything just felt uncomfortable and painful, and like I felt like I was going to explode, right? Like I was very anxious, very like jumpy, very like, what's the word? Like nervous, I guess you could say. I was very like nervous. My leg was shaking because I like needed something. And, like a crackhead, I was sitting there like unable to sit still because I didn't have stimulation and because I was in pain. I was literally in pain because I didn't have stimulation. And this is what we're going to talk about today, is how to actually overcome this feeling of pain when you are finally removing that stimulation, when you have finally removed that stimulation, because it's hard, because that's one of the main reasons that people will go back, is because it's so uncomfortable to just sit there long enough to heal. So why you experience pain without stimulation? The first thing is boredom, right? Boredom, it's because you're bored, right? Because you're used to this constant stimulation. You're used to calling that your fun. Now, without that stimulation, you feel bored. You feel like there's nothing going on. You feel like everything's empty. But really, it's just that you haven't reintegrated back. You haven't regulated back to a state where reality is stimulating again, right? So it feels like nothing's going on because you are numb. You are not sensitive enough to reality to feel it, right? Since you're numb to reality, you can't feel what's going on around you. You can't feel this movement of energy, this flow of energy that's constant, right? And so you can't get that normal stimulation. So you feel bored. You're in this like in-between space. You're in what I call the abyss, right? Where you can't actually tune into or tap into reality because you're still dysregulated from the stimulation, but you at least know enough to stop doing it because of how bad it is for you to sit there with it. So because you're in that in-between state, it's very uncomfortable and very hard, and you have to choose, right? You have to choose to keep going forward, or you get to choose to go back, right? But obviously, if you go backwards, you're just going further away from this end goal. Eventually, you'll find yourself in a worse situation but also farther away from getting out of it. The next thing is the pain-pleasure balance. So when we experience a level of pleasure, what our brains do is it then creates a sense of pain to balance it out, right? This sense of pain is there to create balance, to create homeostasis, to return us back to a baseline. So for the amount of pleasure we feel an equal amount of pain, right? So for the amount of pleasure that we've been indulging in, we will feel an equal amount of pain. And that is what you are feeling right now. You are feeling that pain that is a result of all the stimulation from the past, right? But the thing is, all of this pain is just your body's natural way of processing it. And so you really can't and shouldn't avoid it, right? Allow it to be felt. It's only being felt because now you're finally not stimulating yourself anymore. And so your body and brain are able to then regulate themselves. And so this is actually a natural sign that you're doing the right thing. This is a natural sign that you are actually progressing, that your body is healing, right? So just kind of embrace it for a bit. Just allow it to be for now. So the last reason that you're feeling this pain is because your brain/nervous system is fried, right? Because of all of this overstimulation, you've fried yourself out basically, right? Your brain is cooked, your nervous system is cooked, and so you can't really feel anything. You can't really pick up on the sensations of regular life. You can't really think clearly. You can't feel as deeply, right? Because your nervous system and your brain is fried, and it just needs this time in order to regulate and reset. So how can you get through this stage, right? What can you actually do to get through this stage? So the first thing is you have to understand that this will not last forever, right? This will not be a permanent experience. This is your body and brain healing, and so you just need to give it the time. So understand that, keep that in mind, that it will not last forever. It will end eventually. You will feel better eventually, right? So you just got to push through. And remember that this is the body healing. So fully embrace it, right? Fully embrace that feeling. Allow it to be felt. Allow your body to be heard. Allow your brain to be heard, because this is a fair warning not to do this shit again, basically, right? So fully embrace it. Fully feel it, because this is your body healing, and so let it heal. The next thing is to fully feel this pain. So I've basically talked about this already, but fully feel the pain, right? Fully embrace that painful feeling, because the more you feel it, the deeper you feel it, the faster it will actually be over with, right? The faster your body will be able to process this state. Next thing is exercise. Exercise will help you in regulating the brain back to normal states. It will give you a boost of happiness, a boost of enjoyment, and it's just good for you altogether. But it also gives you a new activity to do that is still stimulating, that is still enjoyable, but is going to be one of the positive activities, the positive habits, and it will boost your ability to heal. You will heal faster if you're exercising, because exercise heals the body, it heals the brain, it will make you more fit. But also it will get your blood flowing, it will get you moving, it will get your nervous system working, right? It will get your brain working, and this will get everything moving again, everything flowing again, and therefore you'll actually be able to process all of that overstimulation faster. You will also break out of this state of pain faster, because if you're exercising, you'll release endorphins that make you feel good, right? Endorphins are the feel-good hormones in the body. So if you're releasing endorphins, you'll just start feeling better. Literally, you'll start to feel good. And because you're feeling good doing something other than the stimulating activities, this gives your brain an option to be like, oh, there's a new thing that's actually really enjoyable, that's actually helpful, right? And then so now you can start to integrate that into a habit. The next thing is to observe your mind, right? So spend time while you're sitting here just observing the mind, observing how it works, observing maybe the crowding, observing maybe it's not as active as you'd like, or maybe it's overactive, right? Observe the thoughts, the types of thoughts, the content of your mind. Do you enjoy that content, right? Is the content of your mind something that you would like to speak about? And observe that, right? Because observation of that will help you to dissolve the things that don't align and reinforce the ones that do. And because if you have awareness of your mind and the state of your mind, it will make it easier for you to then choose your next steps. Next thing is to spend time outside, right? Spending time outside will start to help you to feel better. You will start to feel much, much better, much more whole and complete. You will start to feel a sense of pleasure from being outside. The sunlight is really healthy for a multitude of different reasons, right? It's really essential for you to get sunlight, right? But most importantly, it will help to regulate your sleep. And your sleep is one thing that will help to regulate your dopamine, right? And dopamine is why we are in this state of pain. So that's a benefit, as well as by itself, the sunlight will help to heal your brain, help to heal your body. On top of that, being outside in nature, being able to go outside and breathe in fresh air and just enjoy nature, this will give us a sense of, a little sense of pleasure, right? In this exact state, you probably won't feel like pleasure, like I would describe being outside as, but you will experience a sense of enjoyment that is not quite to the point that it's better than the overstimulation, but it will give you a sense of enjoyment that will remind you of nature, of reality, of yourself, right? It will remind you of living life and being alive. And then eventually it will get to a point where this is pleasurable, but in this current state, the dopamine deficit state, it might not be too enjoyable to go outside. It might actually be kind of harsh and painful. The cold air might be painful, right? But being in this state is what will regulate you back to this level of dopamine, where you're getting dopamine and enjoyment from these types of things. Next thing I have is actually sleep well. So sleep well, right? Get good sleep, because sleep will help to heal your dopamine system, and it will help to create and produce more dopamine and regulate the dopamine receptors. Next thing is to give yourself time. I know I've said it, but give yourself the necessary amount of time to heal. Don't do more instant gratification. Because if you do stimulate yourself again, you will lower your baseline back down, and so you will undo some of the progress. But because of this state that you're in a very fragile state, you're very likely to end up getting back into the addiction, right? So even if you were to do it once, you're very likely to get sucked right back into the addiction because of the state that you're currently in, because you're in this dopamine deficit state. And so just take the necessary time for yourself to heal. Literally just give yourself time. Put up with it for a while and let yourself heal, right? So the last thing is to work/do instant gratification. So you can do delayed gratification. You can do any of the delayed gratification activities, right? Reading, journaling, meditating, breath work, stretching, yoga, exercise, working on your business, drinking good water, eating healthy food, spending time with friends who are intelligent and not degenerates, right? Doing things that are actually valid and beneficial to you, and also just working, right? Working and doing these delayed gratification activities, because this type of pain is what will start to regulate your dopamine back to a state where you can start to feel pleasure in regular life again, right? This type of pain is what will make you start to feel more fulfilled and more good overall. And therefore, that feeling of fulfillment will allow you to no longer need or crave or desire the instant gratification. So that is all I have for you guys in this video. If you're interested in my self-improvement coaching, you can go ahead and click that link in the description. And if you guys want to see more content on self-improvement like this, you can go ahead and click the subscribe button. But aside from that, I'm out of here. Peace.